live.
Okay.
Oh, never mind. I see it.
Thanks, Hazel. Okay, good morning, everybody. Welcome to our finance meeting of August 15th. Before we start today's finance meeting, I would like to extend our condolences to the Porter and Miller family. Helen, know that we're thinking about you and you take care as well as your family. So we have regrets from Councillor Miller as well as Councillor Paulus Bomberry. As well, the chief is in transit to Ottawa, so he will join us when he can. So you have me chairing today. So let's start this over as we're live now, and I'd like to welcome community. We have on the line with us Turtle Island News. Bree is with us. So let's move along to the adoption of the agenda. Is there any changes or deletions for today's agenda?
I'll move if there's not.
Okay, I just have one. I know the Redmond request is on, as well the Riverman request should be on as well. So we can deal with them, I guess, at the same time. That was deferred from our general council meeting last week. Thanks, Sherry Lynn, on moving. Do I have a seconder?
I'll second Hazel.
I'll second that, Mel.
I think it was Carrie that came in, so motion is carried. So today I'd like to welcome Dawn Hill. She will be doing a presentation in regards to a request for donation for the Mohawk Village Memorial Park. So at this time, Dawn, I'd like to welcome you, and I'll hand it over to you to do your presentation, and we'll have some discussion and go from there.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm not too sure everybody would have gotten a copy of this application, is that right?
Yes, it's on the agenda package.
Okay, in which we're putting in our own $40,000, which we had been given a donation about a year and a half ago, in which they wanted to ensure that it went to Pathways. So we did get that. I'm not saying that we still don't need that other bunch to complete different things in our park. I know that it shows what we put in, we submitted that we had about we have about $101,000 in the bank, but part of that was the $40,000 that's been allocated for Pathways. $10,000 was again allocated for trees in the park from a donor. They insisted that they were for trees. And we've had a number of expenses like I think it's about $12,000 for restaining the pavilion. So we're still looking at probably about $40,000 working stuff in our bank account. And some of the things that on our application, you would have gotten a color copy of what we're looking for in the park. And some of that had to be a little bit rearranged. We wanted to have a pathway right from the road up to the pavilion that was for wheelchair accessibility. Back to the actual drawing that we sent out. We don't have any funds for the pathways to the roadway on Mohawk Street. And that is one of the things that we would really like to have done. Our contractor said that because we got the other money, he would try to get it done this fall before our September 30th event, which we're having in the park for residential school survivors from all over Ontario. And so some of this stuff does overlap, and so, but we still need those kind of things. We've had to change the design just a little bit to accommodate work that's being done around the mush hole itself. So we didn't really want to interfere with that aspect of the GPR, although they've done a lot of the GPR stuff around our park. And like we have had an Archaeological Research Association do a level 3 dig in the park, and I'm not too sure if everyone knows that or not. We addressed that a few years ago. but because of the controversy now about the GPR and the Mush Hole grounds, we asked them to redo it just to satisfy, I guess, everybody in the community that there are no bodies there. And so we are going to go ahead with the pathways and stuff. And we're pretty confident that there won't be anything, because like I said, they've already done all of that stuff. And basically, let me see here. The new amount that we're going to do was the paver area number 1. I think everybody has that color copy for 17,636, and the excavation for the pathways to the road, which was 120,891. We did have an application in for our project coordinator, only because we haven't officially gotten anything from the community trust yet. But usually they don't give us a whole year. And in the past, we had to ask 6 Nations to fill the gap for us until she got funding again. Now, the reason we asked for that is because the last time when the pandemic was first, we were aware of it and things closed down on us. We did lose funding for our project coordinator for about 3 months, which was kind of a disaster for us as an organization, because she knows all the ins and outs of the technical stuff. None of us did. And the chair and I both got a message about the GoFundMe site. We didn't think too much of it and ignored it, which we probably shouldn't have done. Our coordinator said, you should never have done that. You should have called me. I would have done it for nothing. So we lost our site for about 3 months. And when we were able to hire her back on with funding, because we were like right down to the, being disbanded as an organization, she got it back up, had to redo the whole site and get us back on track. So that's why we're asking for that, because we will have 3 months again where she is not going to be available to us, although she swears she will. We can't really count on that, just especially if she, were to get another job in the meanwhile. But she does know she's been with us since day one, knows all the ins and outs of our organization, keeps us on track about filing our appropriate paperwork and stuff like that. So, and if it weren't for her, I'm afraid we might be a little under the gun sometimes to get some things done, but she does keep on track of that. So we really need her to help us with that. She also helps us with all the grants that we've been able to achieve, looking at making us focus. That's not what they're asking you, that type of stuff. You need to focus on this. This should be your response type of stuff. So she's really an invaluable part of our organization. And so we'd really like to keep her on and have that funding for her. And the other thing is about administration costs. I know that it's kind of like a buffer for us, because if we don't get the donations, although we're always applying, as you can see, we just got that 100,000, but we don't often get funding for that type of stuff. I mean, we are expecting some funders to give us money. It's always been there. And I know we have some things in the works that will maybe help us keep that, be able to use that money in that way. It's just that when you get down to a certain amount of funding and you can't pay your bills, apparently, because I checked with Charities Directorate, that said if you're less than this amount, you can't pay your bills, they would have to shut us down. And we don't want that, because we've been at this for a long time. And it seems now we're just moving forward again after the pandemic. So that's why we're asking for what we're asking for. And we'd really appreciate if we could get even part of that.
Okay. Thank you, Dawn. At this time, so you're requesting $100,000, correct?
We'll take $100,000. Yes.
So at this time, what I'm going to do is open it up for questions. And I do think Arliss is on the line. So there is some potential. Sherry Lynn, did you have your hand up? I've seen your camera come on, that's all.
Oh, no, I was just, I'm going back and forth reading the agenda. I just have a not regarding this, I just have a question, I guess. Don, I guess with the seating, and I know I've asked this, I don't know if it was last term or putting benches and for families to buy the bench.
Oh, yeah,
Sponsored?
we haven't done that yet, no, but that is a good thing that we haven't, until we get our walkways done, there's no place to put benches where it's really accessible until we
Okay.
get the walkways done.
Oh, okay.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Any other questions? So Dawn, you're working very closely with the Woodland Cultural Center, correct?
Well, yes, we're actually working with them on doing an event in the park, which is another reason why we really need all of these things done. But yes, we are working with them to have a survivors event on September 30th, in which they're putting in a lot of their funds as well. And we've applied for funds to do that type of event from Wichita and Heritage Canada, I think, that are also trying to fund us for some of those activities. But that has nothing to do with, we can't use any of those funds for development in the park. It's more or less to let people become aware of what we're doing in the park. It's like advertising in a way. But we are working with Woodlands and Survivor Secretariat, actually.
Good. I was just asking because the Woodland came to us last week for BCR to build, right? And so I want to ensure, and looking at the plan, the concept plan, you're out front of the school, right?
We're to the right of the school.
The pink part.
It's where the girls' playground used to be.
Yeah, okay, good. So I do believe Anna, did you want to speak to?
Yes, thank you so much. I was wondering if the funds that are requested are there for this year only, or are you asking for ongoing funds?
Well, we're just asking for funding for this particular time, not ongoing. Like if we needed more money at some point, we might approach, because in the past, they've always, Six Nations Council always gave us funds for certain things.
Mhm.
But we seem to be able to hold our own in a lot of ways. And so it's, to me, it's just for this particular part of the project, not ongoing.
Okay, thank you. Michelle, we have a discussion that we're gonna have with Arliss regarding funding. And I think that this topic can fit into there. So I would suggest, receive the presentation and we can decide by the end of the day, by
The end of the meeting? Well,
yes.
that's perfect. Okay, so Dawn, what I'm hearing is our Director of Social Services will be doing a presentation during this meeting or maybe the next meeting. And there may be potential that she could have some dollars for this project. Okay.
Awesome. Okay.
So at this time, we will hang on to your presentation and not make any decisions, council, if that's okay. So Anna and Arliss, thanks for having that discussion. And so at this time, I guess we will move on.
Thank you very much for listening.
Yeah,
and
thanks,
considering.
Dawn.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. So yeah, Dawn, we'll follow up with you. If you're gonna hop off, yeah, it'll come up later in the meeting. Okay, council, so let's move along to the adoption of the general finance meetings for July 18th. Do I have a mover?
Michelle,
Yep.
I'll move with a correction that you were chairing that meeting that day on July the 18th, but motion number 2 has you moving to adopt. Am I reading that right?
Yeah, I don't believe I've chaired a meeting in a while.
It says with Counselor Michelle Bomberry presiding as chair.
I'll check my note to make the correction, Michelle.
Okay, that's
Thanks,
fine.
Vicky.
Yeah, I moved that.
Thanks, Carrie. We have a seconder. Seconder. I see no
I'll
hand.
second it, Melba.
Thank you. All in favor? Does anybody object? Hearing nothing, those minutes are carried. Okay, let's move along to number 5, the Building and Infrastructure Committee recommendations. So because I'm chairing, I cannot move this. So do I have a mover in regards to Habitat for Humanity agreement?
I'll move.
I'll
Michelle.
move it, Mel.
Moved by Hazel, second by Melba. Hazel, did you want to read that or do you want me to?
Yes, I can read it.
Perfect.
I move that the BNI committee recommended the Six Nations of the Grand River Elected Council to ratify the agreement with Habitat for Humanity Hamilton in the amount of $1,566,304.06. I so move.
Okay, thanks Hazel. Moved
I'll
by
second
Hazel,
Melba.
second by Melba. Any questions at this time?
Michelle, I just wanted to point out, because I know during the BNI committee's review of the motion, that I believe it was Carrie brought up some concerns regarding how much local labor was going to be used. I did speak with Sean Ferris at Habitat, and a list of local contractors was provided to him, and he's going to respond with a percentage of how much they're going to use, but they're going to do their best to use the labor that was on the list that housing provided to them.
Okay, perfect. And Lillian, if you can just in a short overview, explain the entire project.
So this was a planned build for a 5-unit townhome on Harold Road. And we partnered with Habitat so that we could access their bulk pricing that they receive for doing numerous builds in a year, which we don't really have the opportunity to do otherwise. And they were more than happy to partner with us to provide that sort of funding. So they provided a quote, which we received some monies from ISC, and the remainder came from the community trust to proceed with this build.
Perfect. Thanks, Lillian. So is there any other questions or comments? Hearing none, we'll go to the vote. All in favor?
Favor.
Anybody opposed? Hearing none, motion is carried. 5B.
I'll move that, Michelle.
Okay, do I have a seconder to move to waive second reading?
Do you want me to read it first,
I'll
Michelle?
second Melba.
Sure, Hazel, please.
I move that the BNI committee recommended the Six Nations of the Grand River Elected Council.
Hold on, Hazel. We have to do 5B. 1B.
Oh, I'm
We have
so
to
sorry.
waive second reading.
I moved to waive second reading, sorry.
Perfect, thanks, Hazel. And I
Second.
heard Melba seconding. Okay.
Yes.
All in favor? Anybody opposed? Waiving a second reading is done. Now recommendation 2. Hazel?
Yeah, I'll move on that. And I'll read it. I move that the BNI committee recommended the Six Nations of the Grand River Elected Council to ratify the construction proposal from Andrew Neal Construction in the amount of $400,000 so that the 2-unit duplex can begin to be assembled off-site while new locations are being evaluated.
Thanks, Hazel. And I will need a new seconder for that motion.
And second, Nathan.
Thanks, Nathan. Is there any questions at this time? So again, it is more housing that we will be developing. Hearing no questions, we'll go to a vote. All in favor?
Favor.
Does anybody oppose? Hearing none, motion is carried. 2B.
I move to waive second reading.
Thanks, Hazel. Seconder?
I'll second.
Perfect. All in favor? Anybody opposed? Hearing none, motion is carried. Okay, so with that, Lillian, thank you for being here. I know there's a lot of work being done in housing. I don't believe you're on any other items this morning.
I'm in camera.
Okay, we'll see you there.
Thank you.
Okay, moving along to the public library budget. I don't see the director on. So
Michelle, so the director presented their budget and the request either at the end of March or beginning of April. And we didn't approve it because we were waiting to approve the budget for our organization first. So this is a request that we're bringing back where the director already presented. She requested, well, the 175, it's already in the MOU. So we just, we're asking to release that. And she presented a request of around 70,000 additional for several topics. So given the fact that this is going to be a year where inflation is going to be high and we expect several organizations to come for support, I will suggest, of course, it's up to council, but I will suggest to provide at least at 35,000.
half of the request.
Yes. Again, it's up to council. I would just, in general, suggest to have, to try to save a little bit of money for additional requests because inflation this year is going to affect the whole community and we would like to provide support to everyone.
Yes, I've heard a few organizations that will be coming because there is no gaming dollars available this term, or this fiscal year. So at this time, council, we have a motion to approve. Well, we have an MOU with the library. We fund them 175 per year. And so they're asking for an additional 35,000. They've actually asked for an additional 70. We're recommending half of that at this time. So questions? I need a mover and a seconder, and then we can discuss if there's discussion.
I'll make that a motion.
Moved by Carrie. Do we have a seconder?
I'll second it. It's Melba, and certainly if Helen was here, she certainly would be supporting this because she's been an active member with the library for quite a while, it's my understanding. So I'll second the motion.
Okay. Moved by Carrie, second by Melba to support the additional 35,000 as well as release the 175 as per the MOU. Any questions? All in favor? Anybody opposed? Hearing none, motion is carried. So 6B, waiving of second reading.
I'll move.
Okay,
Second, Melba.
okay. All in favor? Any opposition? Hearing none, that is carried. So 7A, the Language Commission budget. So the Language Commission is looking to for $350,000 as per the MOU. So I know I sit at the commission as well as Melba. So do I have a mover in regards to releasing the Language Commission budget?
I'll move.
Thank you, Nathan. Do I have a seconder? And then we'll go to questions. Do we have a seconder?
I'll move it, Sherlyn.
Okay, so you're gonna second. Moved by Nathan, second by Sherry Lynn. Questions, Anna Cecile?
I just wanted to mention as well that the support of the language commission is in the social services plan that we'll discuss in camera. So while we'll be glad to support from the finance department and for social services, I was wondering if we can leave open until the closed agenda, source of the funds.
Oh, okay. So what I'm hearing you say is defer it to in camera, or we can approve it now and
Ye-
just add the source of funds later.
Exactly, that's what you can do.
Okay, do I have any other comments or questions in regards to the request right now? Hearing none, we'll go to the vote. All in favor? Anybody opposed? That motion is carried. So we will update that on where the source of funding will come. And so we've approved the 350,000 to be released. Okay. I know the chief, if he had was able to find some connection, was joining us for number 8. So Tammy, are you able to speak to the federal schools?
I can tell you what I know, and hopefully that's enough to approve this, but if not, then maybe we could add it on to the later on in the agenda or even the in-camera when the chief is available.
Okay.
So I know that we've been having some meetings with Ann Scott and probably for the last 6 months, and we're talking about how we can get some additional funds for the schools, but not just outside or for education regarding the federal schools, not just what they currently have like upping, but so that we can use it for additional items such as the security cameras that everybody's well aware of that they're in the process of installing right now before the school year starts. And so in here, you'll see he's been able to negotiate the 5.2 million additional. In addition, then that's in and above what they normally get for the operation of the schools, as well as the salaries and that for the teacher or for the operation of the schools. And so part of this also is he was very careful and insisted that this not, you'll see it, one of the whereas, that it does not relinquish any responsibilities of the federal government for the schools. And then you'll also note that he's implemented, there's a wish to implement the community leadership model. So that piece is where we're going to be able to be innovative and work with the schools to create, I guess, or try to create services and programs that meet the needs of the students here at Six Nations. There's also been the creation of a steering committee that will help guide the implementation and the ongoing operation of the community leadership model. So right now, those people have been identified on the council side as a chief, and then I would join with him for the chief from the chief's office. But I'm sure if there was request from council to be on there, and another council member, that could probably be implemented as well. So if council does approve this, then that's where the funding for the school cameras would come from.
Okay. Thank you for your overview, Tammy. Is there any questions at this time?
Yeah, Michelle.
Carrie and then Nathan.
Yeah, I just wonder if there's for the operation and maintenance of the schools, because I think those plywoods are still on the windows at IL Thomas. They've been there probably since before the school in June. So I just wonder if the maintenance part of it could be included in that. I don't know if it is or not. I didn't see where it said maintenance, just the operation.
Okay. Tammy, do you have anything else you can elaborate on?
I believe that those kinds of things, that was part of the discussion, is because there is such a shortfall when it comes to the public works staff, and maintain the schools, and there has been a huge shortfall. And so that was part of the discussions when they did talk to ISC about this. So definitely, I believe that's incorporated in here.
Okay, thank you.
Nathan and then Hazel.
Yeah, no questions, Michelle. I'll move this for discussion.
Okay. Moved by Nathan. Do I have a seconder? And then Hazel will go to you.
I'll second.
Thanks, Carrie. Hazel?
Yes, I would like to know if these funds, this 5.2 mil is also going to be, I guess, portionized, some of it for Gowaneo, who are currently going to school in the arena over at IL. I don't know if, I don't think that they would be able to make any adjustments to that building because they don't own it, they just rent it. So what considerations will be given to Gowaneo in terms of this new additional funding? Thanks.
Thanks, Hazel. Tammy, can you?
I would say that would probably be a discussion that the steering committee would have with regard to what, like Hazel said, like I know Gowaneo is moving forward with the new build, so they may not be making any modifications to their current site. But if there's items that the school needs, like in terms of services and that I don't see why it wouldn't fit under here as well. But that would be a discussion that the steering committee would have, and those kinds, we would have to create a process on how those kinds of requests are going to be dealt with.
Okay. Hazel, do you have a subsequent question to that?
I'm going to wait till in camera, Michelle.
Okay.
Thanks.
So with that, do I have any
Melba?
other questions? Go ahead, Melba.
Yeah. In the past, if I heard Kerry right, he's talking about the health of the school officials as well as the children and those that frequent the school. So I'm questioning whether health and safety are done on a yearly basis or more. I know from the past, the late Orville Anderson actually organized this where once a year that council and school officials and I believe parents would accompany those that are doing the inspection and deciding what needs to be done concerning health and safety of the school itself. I don't remember going outside, but I do remember being inside. So if we could look into that is still done. And I'm sure if Audrey was available, she certainly would have the answer. Thank you.
Thanks, Melba. Okay, any other questions? Hearing none, we'll take this to the vote. All in favor? Anybody opposed? Hearing none, motion is carried. Do I have a mover for 8B, waiving of second reading? Uh-oh. Can everybody hear me?
I'll move that then.
Okay,
I'll
thanks.
second.
Thanks, Nathan. All in favor? Anybody opposed? Motion is carried. Okay, great to see additional funds are coming in for our schools, and we definitely need to be advocating for Gowaneo and Everlasting Tree School. Okay, moving right along to number 9. The Oswego Redmen will be hosting the Challenge Cup, which is some pretty good baseball here in the community next month. And so they've put in a request to for some funds to run the entire tournament. So Sherry Lynn, I don't know if you want to speak to it more.
Just a little bit, I guess. This is the qualifier to go to the Worlds in Denmark in 2023. So there's going to be about 12 to 16 teams that'll be here the 24th, 25th, and 26th in the community. So it's pretty, it's pretty big, and some really good ball that's going to be here. So they were just requesting some help to be able to put this tournament on, but to also to be professional, you know, to give them some help, and to let also the community know that this is going on, and hopefully be able to I don't know, maybe even community members to get more involved in the sense of, you know, selling stuff, or because there's going to be a lot of people, you know what I mean? I don't know, but I'm just thinking so much bigger than that, because they have a lot to deal with and to figure out with the whole tournament. But yeah, so they're requesting, I showed you guys their budget, and any way that we can help them would be great. I would like to help them with the fees for the ball diamonds. And I would also hope that Parks and Rec put staff on to line the diamonds also, and groom the diamonds, because again, that's a lot of work in trying to run the tournament plus play, because the Redmen are in the tournament to qualify. And I think also too, I don't know if we want to do the porta potties, extra porta potties, and the wash table, but it's up to council. But for sure, those two first ones for sure. But I would like porta potties, I think needs to be done too. Those three are my request. Or whatever council feels that they would like to see donated. Thanks.
Thanks, Sherilyn. Hazel?
Yeah, first of all, I want to move on this, that we will support them, because I think the council has an opportunity here to make this a big event for our community, because I think people have missed watching baseball and fastball. I know there's a lot of slow pitch tournaments and stuff like that, but there's also that appetite for fastball. And I think it gives us all an opportunity, and the community, like if the community were given the opportunity to set up their craft tables, all of those good things, and of course the porta potties, because there will be a lot of people. Not only that, like the food devices, I don't know whether it would only be one person allowed, or would it allow a lot of the vendors to come in and sell too. So I just like this whole idea, and I'm going to move on it. Thank you.
Thanks, Hazel. Sherilyn?
Just what with Hazel saying, you know, for sure. And I think when I'm sitting here looking at everything, when they rent it, they have to pay for a food booth also fee. So so I'm looking at, I don't know if it's the entire budget, but at least the main ones that are going to be costly, even the umpires. So if we can pay for the umpires, the porta potties, and the what I said, the rental, and make sure that staff is all there during that weekend for grooming and stuff. I am in the fee, but I see Hazel's moving it. What are you moving it for, Hazel? The whole budget, or are you moving it for certain ones?
Can we have a figure that would go with supporting the whole thing? How much would that be?
I just have to add them all up.
I believe it's like 5,700, which is a small investment in how much our community is going to have an economic spin-off. And
Yes.
5,700?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it would be more than that. So I'm going to
Do the math, Sherry.
I'm gonna recommend it that we offer them seven grand, because you never know of unforeseen costs, right?
Yeah. So I'll second that, but in the motion, can we also put that Parks and Rec staff
Yes,
to do the lines and the grooming for the week, and to be a few of them to be on hand?
yeah, for sure.
Perfect. So we have it moved by Hazel, second by Sherry Lynn. No, moved by Sherry. Okay. Moved by Hazel, second by Sherry Lynn, to support the Challenge Cup that's coming to Six Nations in September at the amount of $7,000, as well as we will have our staff there to groom and maintain those diamonds the entire weekend.
Yes.
All in
And
favor? Oh,
I'll reach out also to see if it's possible, Hazel, to if we can get craft booths there also.
Sure, that would be great.
And that's another thing that we're going to say too is, do they pay for the fee? Because Parks and Rec will ask for is it $50 fee, $40 fee?
there is a fee.
Also, yeah.
Okay. So with that, we have the motion on the table. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Could I ask a question,
Oh, sorry.
Michelle?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, what age category is this?
This is men's. Men's.
Men, I know, but what age category? Is there a specific age category?
I don't know. I guess if you're a man, it's just to make to the worlds. There's no specific
I thought it was,
age.
Well, in the,
it isn't. Oh, it's another theme that we've been talking about then lately, because it was I thought it said, I just wanted to make sure what it was. 21 and over or under, I'm not sure.
sometimes they have pictures that are in their teens. So,
Yeah, they just bring them up.
Okay, I just wanted to comment if it certainly was a young age, I wanted to comment, and regardless of if they're young or old or in between, I really think they're role models, and the community is certainly watching very closely, and specifically the children. We need role models in the community, and we know that certainly we have people to go in one direction or the other, and hopefully it's in a positive direction, that we look at these sports people and how they're certainly providing us with entertainment, which is really good. So I'm sure that families will bring their children. That's why I was questioning what age group it is. But overall, I support it anyway. Thank you.
Okay, and just picking up on Melba's comment, I do want to actually, let's go to vote and then I'll I'll share more. All in favor?
favor.
Does anybody oppose? Hearing none, motion is carried. So we need to waive second reading on this.
I'll move it to
Saying thank you. Sharon, second. All in favor? Anybody oppose? Motion is carried. And just picking up on role models, we have tons of role models in our community. And I want to say, I'm sure many of you know that last night, our Haudenosaunee box team won silver. So it's really nice to see we had 8 individuals from our community on that team. So good job, men, on that, as well as we have men out in Ireland playing right now, or young men, as well as we supported Kara, Trin, I want to say Tess and Colby. And, you know, we've seen that their teams came 3rd and 4th respectively in Canada. Also, we have, you know, a young Caleb Thomas playing in the States, hardball, amazing. And, you know, these costs are so extreme and very high. So kudos to them. And even tonight, we have Brendan Anderson, who the couple will be coming to Six Nations this evening. So he's done well in the Ontario Hockey League. So again, I do apologize if I've missed I try and stay in tune with the sports and the arts. And, we need to applaud our young athletes because they are role models. And then, they evolve into men who are playing at the Worlds. And even our next request for the Rivermen, we have, our lacrosse team going out to present us in the President's Cup. So with that, that's Nathan, I see your hand up, and then we'll segue to the Rivermen request. Nathan, then Hazel.
Just building on your comments, Michelle, I'm wondering if we can get a good comm strategy in the next little while to highlight and congratulate from our perspective as well. Press releases, social media, and even, encouraging the mainstream media to do a few more interviews, because I saw some interviews at the front end of some of this. But just wondering if we can do our part to sustain the comms pieces of that. So, because you're right, we have so many representing us over the last month and a half, and going into the championship, so many more. Watched the game last night as well. So very proud of those young men. And that was just my suggestion is to do some communication of that to let the world know, I guess.
Yeah, completely agree. We should always be celebrating. I find sometimes we forget to do that. So we have a lot of great people. I mean, we all are, but yeah, we need to announce and share those good moments. Hazel?
Yeah, I just want to bring this to the attention of council in our Human Services Committee when it comes to Parks and Rec. A couple years ago, I had suggested to Cheryl that they really look into building on top of the arena that Sports Hall of Fame that initially was taken off the development of the arena. I think the sad part of the name change to the arena and all of that, I always thought that if we had a Hall of Fame where we really support and honor all of our athletes, because there are a lot of good athletes on this reserve. And I think that Hall of Fame would be the highlight for everybody whose family members can be put in there. Everybody will have their own showcase. And I just think it would be an honorable thing to do for our people, because after all, Six Nations they do win a lot of the challenges that they go into. So that's just an idea I have. Thank you.
Very well said, Hazel. And again, even our ladies team went out to Prince George in July and they won as well. So, there's a lot of, great athletes in our community. So with that, Becky, we've moved in past the Redmen. So let's move on into the Rivermen. So as I shared this request, as you know, the Rivermen will be going off to Edmonton. So they have huge travel requests. So they're requesting $89,000 to get them, their entire team, their bench staff to Edmonton. I know I don't have Jeff here today, but putting that out there too, that they too will be representing Six Nations. So is there an appetite to support them?
Move, Michelle.
Okay, Nathan. So we will need an amount for.
You said 89?
89,000.
89,000. Okay.
Yeah.
Are they fundraising, Michelle?
Oh yeah, they have dances. They make the money off the gate. But again, like Sherry Lynn said, right, we're at the tail end of summer, and everybody now knows if they win, they go, and it's fundraising after the fact, really.
Never mind.
Anybody want to, any thoughts?
Well, I guess, Sherilyn, I guess for me, for sure. And taking everybody, that's a big cost in such a short amount of time, you know, and at least if we can give some kind of help to the cause. And I don't know, like for finances and stuff or that we have, but I'm looking at least 15,000-20,000 for the
Okay.
I was
tournament.
gonna be in that range too, and I think that would be, the reason why is that would be consistent with some of our other requests.
Yeah, and how many, because most of them are from the community, the players. So even
Yeah.
if you do all that, those kinds of things, that's where I was coming from also.
Yeah, the majority are Six Nations.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
I'm
is there,
comfortable.
Michelle?
I'm
Go ahead,
comfortable with
Nathan.
15 at this time.
Okay, so
I'll second
Nathan
that.
moving 15, Sherilyn seconds that, and I hear a question, Melba?
No, I don't have a question. Thanks.
Okay. So is there questions? If not, we will go to the vote. All in favor of supporting the Rivermen, 15,000? All in favor? Anybody opposed? And Anna's hearing none, motion is carried. And Anna, I'm assuming this is coming right from the donation fund. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. So we need to waive second reading.
Oh, I'll move.
Perfect. Sherilyn seconds. All in favor? Anybody opposed? Motion is carried. Perfect. Thank you and best of luck to, I know the Rivermen are actually playing in Illinois right now, so best of luck to them this week and best of luck to the Rivermen as they travel.
The Redmen?
Oh, yeah, sorry. The Redmen are in Illinois playing and the Rivermen will fly out in a couple weeks. So all the best to both teams. Moving along to number 10. So we have a request from the Indian Oil, well, actually it's for gas wells. So we have Rod is here. So for council, as you know, I chair the gas well subcommittee of the environmental task force. And so we met on Friday to discuss if we needed a BCR for the application going forward. So Indian Oil and Gas has will provide us $100,000 to start the work on decommissioning the gas wells. So we need a band council resolution. So that's my Cole's version of that. Rod, if you want to add anything, and then we can have some discussion.
Yeah, we did hear back from Indian Oil and Gas late Friday, and they did indicate that yes, indeed, a BCR is needed. So we're set for that discussion now.
Okay, so thanks. Again, we brought the gas wells up. The plan to decommission them, we have a number of them in our community. So we want to start somewhere. Do we have someone who will move this? Second, and then we can go to
I'll
discussion.
move it, Melba.
Moved by Melba, second by, excuse me, Sherilyn. Questions? Oh. Hearing no questions, all in favor?
Michelle, I have a question.
Oh, go ahead, Hazel.
With those gas wells that are going to be decommissioned, is there still gas in them?
Rod?
Yes. So the last gas wells that were capped were in 2003, 2002, 2003. And at that time, back in 1999, we hired a consulting company called Conestoga Rovers, and they did an assessment to determine if there's some of those gas wells that are still producing wells, or some that are not producing. So there are indications just over the past few decades that there are some that are still producing gas. So they do pose environmental and human health risk because of the fact that they're still producing, and that's the premise behind capping them. They also contribute to greenhouse gas emissions as well. So yeah, so that's part of the program, is to first of all locate them, and then to properly cap them.
I guess a question that I want to ask, although it might sound silly, is why couldn't we incorporate that gas that's there into the pipelines that we already have for the gas company?
Yeah, so some of them were not, for the vast majority, there was over 200. They didn't produce enough gas to be commercially beneficial. And if you look at a map for Southern Ontario, there's just all kinds of, they're called abandoned orphan gas wells. So the drilling company of the day back in 1930s and 1940s drilled all these wells to see if there was gas that for economic purposes, and the vast majority were not. So they were abandoned, and then the owners of those wells disappeared, or they're referred to as being orphaned. So now across North America and the United States and Canada, various levels of government have to start trying to decommission them. So it's not enough. It's not enough for economic commercial purposes. They're just minor. There have been a few instances where I think down at the Iroquois Lacrosse Arena, the property owners there did manage to connect one of the gas wells to the arena there for a while. But again, I think there probably wasn't enough to keep it going. And there has to be proper safety protocols in place when they're doing that. They have to have proper shut-off valves, and there has to be monitoring and whatnot. So the Six Nations Natural Gas Company doesn't typically connect to the abandoned natural gas wells. It's just part of their policy. They won't do it, probably for safety reasons.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Rod. Do I have any other questions? Hearing none. Do we have Anna Cecile?
Rod, where's the funding coming from?
Yes, it's coming from the federal government. So it's Indian Oil and Gas Canada. So they have provided funding in the past when Clint King was project lead for this. And so, yeah, it's coming from the federal government through Indian Oil and Gas, which is based in Calgary.
Thank you so much, Rod.
Okay. So Becky, do we have a mover and seconder? Did I just go right into the question?
Yes, you do. It was moved by Melba and seconded by Sherry Lynn.
Okay, all in favor? Anybody opposed? Hearing none, that motion is carried. Thank you. Okay, thanks, Rod.
Second reading.
Oh, shoot. So I need someone to move on waiving of second reading. Moved by Sherry Lynn.
Second, Melba.
Thanks, Melba. All in favor? Anybody opposed? Motion is carried. Perfect. So with that, I do believe that is the agenda for today. We didn't have any additions. So community, thank you for watching, and wishing everybody a great week. Take care, everybody.